This isn't my weight, it's Monsignor Murray's weight, so he let me borrow it. So I remember when I was teaching the 7th grade, so all you 7th grade from Holy Cross watching, hope you remember this, one of the assignments that I gave was to measure your arm and then lift weights and then re-measure your arm again and see how much your arm had grown even after lifting 1, 2, 3 times, 10 times, however many they chose to do. Because after you lift weights, you expand your muscle grows. So keep that in mind as we enter into this Feast of Pentecost. Now, the gospel and the first reading are different accounts of the reception of the Holy Spirit. And I thought, well, which one's Pentecost? Which one did the apostles in the upper room receive the Holy Spirit? And it's a trick question because in both moments, both on that day of the resurrection, which was depicted and proclaimed in our gospel, and Pentecost, which was depicted and proclaimed in our first reading, are both moments when the apostles received the Holy Spirit. But the key is Pentecost was the day when the apostles, the disciples, all gathered in that upper room were ready. Because God was giving the Holy Spirit during that time to the apostles, expanding their souls little by little until the point of Pentecost, the feast when the church was ready to go forth and share that love that they've received in the Holy Spirit, God's love, with the world. So today we celebrate the feast of being ready, of expanding so much that we are driven forth. Because soon, very soon, we are going to be driven forth if you haven't already tried to go forth already. Yes, this Lent, this Easter, in 2020, we too shared in the journey of the apostles very intimately as we're in our upper rooms, as we're filled with fear, as we're waiting and suffering as we wait. And now we are coming to the point of being ready to be driven out. But are you ready, is the question. Have you been expanding your souls in prayer? Getting ready for the moment that we are driven forth, not just to return to normal. No, we never as Christians return to normal. We're always growing, always saying, "Come, Holy Spirit, more. Give me more of God's love so that I can share it and not hide it." Now, the difference between lifting weights and expanding your muscle and expanding your soul in prayer is receptivity. Remember that word, receptivity, because it's not my work, like lifting a weight, but it's God's work, because He is sending the Holy Spirit, a divine work into our souls. You and I, just have to be ready to receive, to take away things that may be getting in the way of receiving God's love. Our pride, our fear, any sort of sin. To just take it away. So I would suggest in these days going forth, as we're getting ready to come back to church or go out into the business world, that we hire our own personal trainer. And I can recommend no one better than the Blessed Mother, because she was the one who was perfectly open to receiving the gift of the Holy Spirit. And she continued to receive the Holy Spirit from the Annunciation, one of the very first stories in Luke, the Gospel of Luke. She receives the Holy Spirit, the love of God, and then was driven forth into the visitation, which ironically enough today is the feast of the visitation, but we celebrate today first and foremost. And then she's with the disciples, training them in the upper room so that they could go forth as she did to share the love of God with those around them. She trained them to receive so that their souls can be expanded by the Holy Spirit. So invite her today, tomorrow, and every day, praying in the morning, "Come, Holy Spirit. Come, Blessed Mother. Help me to receive the Holy Spirit." So that the more we expand our souls, or should I say the Holy Spirit expand our souls with the help of the Blessed Mother, we may receive the Holy Spirit more and more and be ready for God's love each and every day. And I would say so that we are ready to come back into this church to receive God's love in the Eucharist, to receive his own Son, God's Son, Mary's Son, in the Eucharist, so that filled up with God's love, expanding our souls, not necessarily our muscles, but our souls, we may then go forth and with God renew the face of the earth.